I don't know. Just sometimes I think you just have to take the big chances.
Hey everybody, it's Jeff and Joey here to talk about Risk. Not Risk the board game, but just about taking risks in life and taking risk in games and whatever.
Business. Taking risks in business.
Taking risk in business.
I'm taking risks. I'm taking my life into my own hands by drinking this Rockstar energy drink.
Oh man, you should get a sponsorship for that.
What do they say? Fortune favors the bold?
Yes, especially if you're risking other people's money. That's usually a good thing to do.
Well, they say don't invest your own money in your own project, but part of that is just the subjectivity of not knowing if the thing you're pursuing is worth it or not.
You've got to really believe in it, and then you've also got to have enough sense to say, whoa, I'm not going to
I also think that
bet the farm.
people who know how to make money know what's valuable, and people who don't know how to make money don't know what's valuable, so it's probably better to trust the people who know how to make money.
It's also the case that there's a lot of variable to it. That's why it's a risk. So just because somebody has failed to make money doesn't mean that they are dumb. They were wrong in that particular risk. But it also, sometimes somebody risks and they just got lucky and made it big.
Well, that does happen, but you can't live your life afraid to take risks because you're afraid that you'll get unlucky. I mean, unluck happens just as much or maybe even more often than luck. So we have to live our life assuming that we can mitigate the bad risks, and rewards that are worth taking risks for are worth taking risks for.
All right, let's hear about some of the biggest risks in your life.
Well, my first Kickstarter was a huge risk. That was 2013 is when I planned it, and I launched, I think, January 2nd, 2014. And I had put probably $10,000 of... I mean, I didn't have any money, so that was $10,000 I was in the hole for at that point. For art budget, I did a little bit of ads. I had built prototypes. I had contacted dozens of reviewers, all for a game that really I hadn't fully vetted in the marketplace. I mean, I knew people liked it, but I didn't know if there was going to be a demand.
Yeah, you'd already had some offers from some game companies to publish it.
I had interest. It wasn't really I guess I did have some smaller companies make an offer, but it would have meant changing what I wanted to do with it. For me, the risk was being in videos, being on the internet publicly, alerting my friends and family that I was going to do a Kickstarter. That was a huge risk. But part of the way I mitigated the risk was I just read a lot about what I was doing. I read a lot. I paid attention. I had tried to help someone else with a previous Kickstarter that had failed, and so I had to watch, or Indiegogo that had failed. So to watch him fail was a horrifying experience, and it actually in many ways made it more scary to get into. I haven't had any really major life risks. I mean, I moved to California in 2007.
Yeah, that's huge.
But at the time, I had already been vetted because I went to film school. I kind of knew how things worked a little bit. Somebody had offered me a job on a big TV show, or at least I thought it would be like a real job. I didn't realize as soon as I moved to LA, the writer's strike would happen, and that opportunity evaporated. So I thought I was mitigating the risks as good as I could. I didn't realize just how hard it would be out here. I haven't proposed to anybody or, done any risky medical treatments or anything crazy like that. But I'm still young.
Yeah.
What about you?
So, some of the obvious big risks I've had were starting my first game company, which eventually did crater. And, my worst nightmare was that it would crater and be an embarrassment and a financial boondoggle, and it did. And then I started my second game company, and that did well, but it wasn't until after a few years of hiding and licking my wounds.
No, wait a minute now. Don't give yourself any credit, because earlier you said success comes from luck.
Well, no, there is. I think I was lucky that things worked out the second time. I think I also made some mistakes both times. So it's not really a case of you either get lucky, toss a coin, you either succeed or fail. It's more like you get your ducks in a row as much as you can and you go for it.
I think this idea that staying in your lane or not changing up what you're doing as like the safe thing, that is, I think, not a recipe for success. And I know a lot of people, they say, oh, well, I just have to keep doing what I'm doing. And, like I know a lot of, because I'm in LA, there's actors and people who live out here I know, and they're like, oh, well, you just have to be out here for 10 years and eventually you make it work. And it's like, doing the same thing only, you might be living in a bubble.
Well, if your same thing is you're working at a software company and you've got a good job and you're coding and you're getting your 401k, maybe that is what that person does to succeed, and it's not as much a risk, but that's solid. I mean, the world needs people that work hard and don't jump off the edge.
Well, so when you say the world needs, you're saying don't do it because you're concerned about filling a need for the world, but you're saying that you can do it knowing that you're always going to have an opportunity for work. That it's a little bit safer than, say, starting a company, but it is less of a risk, but at least that part of your life, the financial part, is going to be secure. Maybe you can take a risk in your personal life now, because now you have a nice house, and now you have actually something to offer somebody other than just like following the person around like a puppy.
Yeah. Well, so the biggest risk in my personal life was I'm a climber, and I had gotten into climbing, and I was having these dreams that I was climbing with my buddy Dean, and I was falling off this rock. And as I was falling, I was saying, "Tell my girlfriend I love her," and I had this sense that everything was so great in this relationship, and I was petrified that I was going to die horribly and never have had the chance to tell her how I really feel about her. So I proposed to that girl, and she said yes, and we got married. So, but the thing that I was risking there was, it was a great scene, and when I proposed, she could have said, you know what, at the time I was a college dropout who was thinking about starting a game business, which did eventually fail. So she would have been in her right mind to say, yeah, now that I come to think of it, no, I don't want to marry you. I mean, you're great, but goodbye.
So she was taking a risk too, because she knew you were ambitious and creative. So those are good qualities that could build into something. But maybe you could have worked at a software company and had a 401k and been a more stable choice, and maybe you were competing with other guys, who took less risk in some ways with that part of their life, but because you were being true to yourself and what you wanted, she knew that in many ways, for example, she could trust you. So there was other qualities about you. Maybe you'd be broke, but you would be happy, and maybe you'd be a good father because you're not going to be abusive or whatever.
Yeah. That's the other major risk, of course, was having kids. Her doctor had told her that she had some back troubles, and her doctor had told her, don't fall and don't have kids. And I don't know what doctor tells you should fall. That just seems like a stupid thing to say. But her doctor...
A doctor who's afraid of the risk of a lawsuit, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, don't fall. Okay, I don't get sick. Anyway, after she had her first kid, her back got better. So it turned out to not be... that was a risk that we took, because we were thinking about, what happens if she gets worse and she's is paralyzed or something.
But that's the thing, is probably just medically the worst risk is, okay, well, unfortunately, whatever, it's not going to work out or whatever, but at least while you're young enough to have kids, that you tried, that you did it, know. And again, this idea of stay in my lane, I'm afraid of failure. I know people that are like that. They're called townies. They're people that don't... I mean, nothing wrong with staying where you're from, but if you want something, if you want to dream big, you have to take risk. And you have to, like I said, mitigate the risk, get mentors in your life. What other risks have you taken?
Well, I've climbed Half Dome, and another time I attempted to climb El Capitan, but 24 hours into it, me and my buddy decided that we weren't up for it on that trip, and so we came back down.
So that's the name of the pillow fort that you and your wife built in your living room.
No, those are in Yosemite, and I'm sure if you've seen the Alex Honnold film, he free soloed El Cap, which is freaking amazing. Me and my buddy were on it with ropes, and we felt pretty good about it. I mean, I felt pretty good about it in terms of safety, because I'm always tied in and that. But we had we'd been on there for 24 hours, and my partner hadn't gone to the bathroom the whole time.
And he was above you.
Yeah, look out! No, but it was just a case that I knew that meant that he was not comfortable. And I figured rather than get higher up and then have more troubles, we just said, you know what, let's just come back down. And he said, okay. Later on, that guy climbed Half Dome with me.
Yeah.
And so, and my other partner, Dean.
And this time he didn't eat Taco Bell right before.
Yeah.
I think the Free Solo documentary is a good example of what kind of risk probably most people don't want to take. Alex he doesn't have a family, does he?
No,
single guy.
He's single guy,
lives in
and
a
he had
car.
a girlfriend. And if you saw it all, it's just crushing to watch. The girl the whole time is thinking that he's going to get this out of his system and then be a normal guy. And once you've done that, it's all done, right? I mean, you've done the amazing thing. And
in my opinion, he's not a hero. I think that's a mental illness.
Well, yeah, there is that. I mean, the risk that he is taking, that guy
is so extreme.
But he studies it and he trains for it. He is literally safer climbing on that rock than you might be walking down a street that doesn't have a sidewalk.
He's never done it without ropes. So
yeah, he has. He practiced the route with ropes many times.
No, he's never done it without ropes until the movie.
Oh no, he did it. Oh right. Okay, I'm seeing what you're saying.
So he's not safer because I've walked down the street millions of times, and if I fall, I don't die.
Well, if you fall and you stumble on the sidewalk and fall into traffic, then you die.
So the other thing is there was huge rewards to reap besides just the personal goal of I succeeded. You could, like in his case, if he was not internationally famous, I don't think that's something he really cares about. But whoever was making the film, his friends, they knew he was going to he was going to become a mainstream name.
He was already the biggest thing in climbing.
That's
and
a subculture.
that pushed him into the mainstream. But if you listen to the guy talk, it's like talking to an escalator. He's just all about going up. And there's not the ego in him. And he also doesn't get afraid. So for him, it wasn't about, oh, God, I got to do this because if I don't... For him, it was just about, I really want to do this. This is really hard, but...
Well, that actually brings up a good point, which I think even though I disagree, I think that's too much risk, even in his case.
I think it's too much risk also. I would have advised him against it.
There is a little bit of a lesson there, which is, I meet, living in LA, there's a lot of people in the film business and the music business, and a lot of them, they put all their eggs, or at least their mental, they base all of their hopes and dreams into this one little basket. They say, if I can just get my demo to so and so, my cousin's friend's uncle is the executive at Warner Brothers.
A gatekeeper that's going to let them in.
My script, if I could just get it to someone's if I parachute into his backyard, or if I put it in a pizza box and pretend I'm a delivery guy. And it's at some point, you have to realize that just quietly getting better and meeting as many people as you can without coming off as creepy or weird is going to get you there. It may not be fastest, but it is the least risky way and the most likely way of achieving your dreams. That it's like the tortoise and the hare. You could, go wild and try to get a viral video going about your whatever thing you want to do, your board game. If I do a video where I get punched in the face until people buy my game, yeah.
I'd like to participate in that one with you.
But the way to actually succeed, your biggest game sales-wise is probably Lifeboat, right?
Yes, or Battle Stations, but...
depending if you look at copies sold versus profits or whatever. But it takes years. You make a game, you meet somebody. The guy who bought Lifeboat for Russia, you met him at the Essen Spiel Fair in Germany, because you were there for another game first, and you just get better and better and better. You meet more people. Now, if you ever need distribution in certain, China or Russia or wherever, you have those people. They already trust you. Even without a very good contract, they're not going to hose you completely. And you just meet more people. You get better at what you're doing. And it is a risk in that you're still putting yourself out there, but it's not as risky as, say, borrowing money from your family members, like to start your
Right.
first company.
Right.
Versus now we use Kickstarter. If one of your games fails totally, well, it's okay because everyone gets their money back, and now you learn, oh, I guess the market didn't want this game.
Right.
Whereas with Battle Stations, the market did want the game, and you learn more. The more surveys you do, the more talking to people you do, and the more people you meet at conventions, the more feedback you get, and you get better.
Yeah, I think really what it comes down to is you got to be willing to risk your heart. That's the hardest thing to risk, is to say, because I mean sometimes we talk about, like you said, $10,000, which is a lot of money to you or me, particularly to you 10 years ago when you were younger and struggling. But to some people, that $10,000 might not be a lot of money. But really, the part where I could see it in you was you hadn't fully vetted the game yet. You weren't sure that the marketplace was ready for it,
And I didn't trust myself as
Yeah.
a designer either. Now I do. I trust myself, and so ironically, the thing that's helped me the most is the self-confidence that comes with having done it before. But you only get the self-confidence of having done it before by doing it before, and you only can do it by having the self-confidence to do
Yeah.
it. It's a cycle. It's a catch-22, and you just have to insert yourself into that cycle and just become a part of your ambitions.
There's a saying in martial arts about stepping into the perfect motion, that the motion is already there. You just step into it and allow it to happen.
Yeah. Well, don't step into a motion that's, Bruce Lee.
Step into one that's you and be you.
Step in. What's just above a white belt?
I don't know, because I say that, but I don't know any martial arts.
So good luck with your hopes and dreams. Good luck proposing. Good
Yeah.
luck with your new business idea.
Take whatever risks you're gonna take.
Yeah, you got to take risks. Don't. What do they say in Groundhog Day? Oh yeah, don't drive on the railroad tracks. Just be smart.
Be smart. Take care of yourself.
All right. Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah. Don't drive on the railroad track.
Well, Phil, that's one I happen to agree with.